Well, we're here. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is.
Tuesday.
We got in
Wednesday.
Tuesday, apparently Wednesday. We got in at some ridiculous hour yesterday. We're 7 hours ahead. I hardly slept last night. I don't know whether I'm coming or going, but one thing I can tell you for sure is that it's an absolute pleasure to be here with my dear friend, Tia.
Yes.
We all know her. I don't need to do the intro. Tia from Healthy Vegan Mama. Thank you for having us, and nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, just cheers.
Cheers. Let's cheers to that
Cheers.
in British
I
fashion.
feel like it's very,
Salute,
very
as
British.
they say. No, it's a pleasure to meet you, and yeah, thanks for making the time for us.
Same.
And I think there's people that are in both of our audiences that are actually, we're really excited, but are more excited for this than we are.
Yes.
Which is kind of sad. But no, it's the internet, it's what happens. But no, it's really nice to be here. So
Same.
I've got a bunch of challenging questions for you, and we'll
Okay.
have a good chat, and hopefully the people watching at home can take lots of stuff, lots of lessons, and inject into their own health efforts.
Hopefully I can give some decent answers.
We hope so. Well,
can be helpful.
Just be honest, and that will be useful to people. They'll
Okay.
resonate with it. You're a couple of cookbooks deep. Mm-hmm. So if people don't know at home, they do, but 73,000 plus subscribers on YouTube now. You've influenced thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people, it's probably fair to say, to get a hold of their health and take back control of their waistline.
Exciting.
But why did you start Healthy Vegan Mama? I've known you for a long time, but why did you start then putting this stuff online?
Yeah, I originally started because to hold myself accountable, right? Because you and I had just finished coaching. We were kind of at the end. I think I had signed up another like 30 days with you or something. And I was really...
So this is how long ago? 4 years
This
probably?
was back in 2020.
Yeah, 3-4 years, yeah.
So I was just really excited, I was on the front end of it, very excited that, I had done this because I had tried for so long to do it. And I did it. And I wanted to hold myself accountable to continue to do this, although I know you are so good at teaching. You taught me and your clients on how to do this sustainably forever.
I mean, let's not...
You're good at it.
Let's not make me sound too talented.
You're very talented. Very talented. But I was still, I think, a little nervous. Like, can I do this on my own? And so anyway, to answer your question, I started the Instagram page just to post photos every day of what I was eating. Just, again, to hold myself accountable.
Not to cut you off, is that a good tip for people at home?
I think so.
It's public journaling, it's documenting.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. If you're someone who needs someone to hold you accountable, and maybe you can't afford a coach or whatnot, for sure. It definitely kept me going. And then I started to realize like how freaking easy it was, right? Like it wasn't as hard as I always thought it was. And so that's when I started YouTube, because I wanted to share and show people like, this is easy. It's not that hard. And what I mean by this is like living this way, like eating this way.
Well, why do you think you had this story? This is interesting. I didn't know we were going to go in this direction, but this is cool. Why did you have this story and this narrative? Why did you believe it was harder than it actually was when it came to it?
Because I had done it. I was a mom, and I had tried to eat a plant-based, lifestyle for so long, and I think the story just existed because of mainstream media, right? Like you hear all the time, it's so hard to be healthy, and if you want to be healthy, you have to get all these ingredients and spend time in the kitchen cooking, and so that was just in my mind. And
let alone to do it without meat and dairy.
Right.
And yeah.
Right. And so it was just in my mind. And then when I signed up with you and we started just eating and coming up with ways to eat just real simple, it just kind of took off in my mind how easy this was. And so that's why I started YouTube, was to show everyone like, this is easy.
At what point did you go, or maybe you haven't, so I don't want to sound presumptuous, but what point did you realize, this YouTube thing, it's a little bit more than a hobby. People actually leaving me really good feedback. They resonate with what I'm doing. They find it useful. And then really blowing up on there. Because my memory of your growth on social media is that it was just ridiculously fast, and it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised, because I know you and I know what your personality is like.
Oh, I'm so much fun.
Oh, you're a fantastic character. This is just going to be an hour of us complimenting each other. Because it's us meeting in person for the first time.
We both love it.
Yeah,
so.
it's long overdue.
No, I had I think it was like second video.
Right.
Where I sat down and just, sorry, my hair keeps getting caught. I just sat down and literally talked to the camera for not an hour, like 40 minutes, just about my struggles and how, like, I've tried this so many times, and I was a mom with little kids, and no one else wanted to eat this way except for me, right? And that resonated with so many people,
right.
And I think the algorithm was just like, oh man, people love this video, and it didn't get like 1 million views or anything, but it blew up. For someone who had like 100 subscribers, it had blown up.
So I can't even remember the timeline of this. Were you on Instagram first and then went to YouTube? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So did you take some of your Instagram audience and say, hey guys, I've got a YouTube channel now, check out this video?
No, I think what happened was all the YouTube people started to follow me on
other way around.
Instagram.
Yeah, got it. Understood. Okay.
And then when Reels came out, right, like then just things started growing on its own
Perfect
on Instagram.
for recipe videos.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note then, what does a typical day of eating look like for you nowadays?
Well, it's a little different right now because I have no kitchen.
Yeah, if the folks at home could see. Don't look at, this is beautiful. Don't look at the background. Don't look behind George, the cameraman.
We've been remodeling. No. So a typical day for me, honestly, it's not that different than it always has been. Really simple stuff. I love to start my day with overnight oats. And I tend to, as I know you do too, to kind of get stuck on something, and I'll eat that for a couple weeks, and then I'll switch to something else. But right now, overnight oats, easy to make at night, right? I just put everything in a jar, put it in the refrigerator. So that's usually a breakfast, or I'll do, what do you guys call it? Polenta.
Yeah.
You know.
Grits.
That's very filling, although
Yeah.
I'm not really eating that right now.
What do you have that with, by the way? What do you put on there?
Sometimes see, I'm not having that right now, but what I used to do when I had a stove, I would saute a little spinach and have it on, like, with that, like lots of spinach.
So savory style, obviously.
I love savory. Love savory. I'm also a big savory oatmeal person. But again, you need a stove for that.
No, but it's getting more popular. Like, I have more and more clients now asking for savory oats options, and I've got this cheesy chickpea thing, and clients love it. Cheesy chickpea oats.
I'm just a savory person.
To British people, they're like, savory oats, that's bizarre, but here it's super popular.
So good.
What about lunch?
Lunch, right now, lunch is usually just a veggie sandwich, right?
Yeah.
So I'll do just Ezekiel bread, love it, hummus, avocado, lots of veggies, and some fruit.
Yeah, right up my street.
Sometimes
Quick.
I'm really on cucumbers right now,
Okay.
which I'm happy about. So I'll eat, like, if you go open my refrigerator.
Just cucumbers everywhere.
It's ridiculous.
Thousands.
It's ridiculous.
Well, they're really water rich, right?
Yeah.
So is it a weather thing because the temperature's so good?
Probably.
It's nice to have something hydrating.
Probably.
Yeah. But sandwiches, quick, easy. There's going to be a theme here for people listening. Repetition, you mentioned this earlier. Simplicity. It's really not rocket science, right?
Nope.
Some people think this stuff has to be really complicated and you need 20 superfoods in each meal.
Yeah.
And that's
I don't even think about it.
That's not what's changed your body. That's not what's changed your health. No.
What's changed my health is simplicity and consistency with that simplicity.
Well, the
right?
consistency was you were able to tap into that because you gave yourself permission to keep it so simple.
Yes.
Yeah. Dinner?
Dinner is more like a rice and beans type thing, or lentil marinara, or red beans and rice. Again, beans and rice. I'm a big bean fan. So I'm trying to think of what I had. You know, last night I had, and this again is so simple. I'll take a can of black beans, rinse them, put half a cup on a plate. Right now it's a paper plate. I'll aggravate some people right now, sorry. And then I'll, take some frozen rice and some frozen broccoli and frozen peppers, and I'll just put it all in the microwave for like 4 minutes and put soy sauce on it, or like salsa.
It's ridiculously straightforward.
So easy.
Yeah.
Or potatoes. Actually, the other night, my family, who does not, eat like me, they're not vegan, although sometimes I make them vegan things, they wanted to order pizza. And so they ordered pizza, and I popped a gigantic potato in the microwave and ate that with veggies, right? And I didn't even need sauce, because if you have not had a Japanese sweet potato,
You're
it's
missing
like eating
out.
cake.
Yeah, it's not as big in the UK.
You don't need anything on it.
You talked about preparing meals and family not being vegan. stay tuned because we got a bunch of questions on that we're going to come to later. This is a tough one. Any old foods that you used to love that you actually miss a little bit? Nothing.
Really.
Honestly.
I mean,
honestly.
I'm trying to be honest.
Because I always get this question, and I give the same answer. I'm like, no, I love this way I eat. It's not forced. But I think until people have that internal transformation where they genuinely like being healthy, they don't get that answer. They're like, what? Really? You don't miss bacon? I'm like, no.
Yeah. I don't miss, especially meat. I never was a big meat eater, ever. I remember.
So that was easy for you
to do. At 11 years old, I was like, I'm a vegetarian.
Right.
Like, I hated meat.
Yeah.
And, which did not go well for me at 11.
In Texas.
Being a vegetarian, I ate like rice-a-roni and orange juice.
Very limited.
Oh, it was horrible. It was, anyway, where were we? What were we talking about?
Any food you used to miss?
Yes. So the thing is I've learned to replace the things I love with healthier versions that are just as good, if not better. So that's why I don't really feel like I miss anything. However, you know, my family ordered cheesy pizza the other night, and that probably was one of my biggest weaknesses a while back. I guess I miss that, but I really don't because I make a
Well, you don't miss it enough to go and indulge with them.
No, I mean, not even take a bite, right? Like, I just don't want to.
Why?
Why I don't want to take a bite?
Yes.
It's just not worth it for me. It doesn't seem...
Explain.
Because I'm not craving it, right? Like, I don't feel the need to, let me just see what that tastes like again. I also, for me, I'm a very black and white person. I don't like to
Give
dip my
yourself
toes
the gray
in a little
area.
bit. I can't do.
It's risky.
I hate saying I can't because I can do anything, right? Like anybody, if you put your mind to something, you can do anything, and you're not boxed in as a specific type of person. However, when I do dip my toes in or do go in the gray area a little bit, it can become disastrous for me. So I just stay. I don't eat that.
Right.
I don't eat that.
And that's easier. Interestingly, it's easier to make an absolute, like, that's not for me, than to, I'll squeeze a bit of it into my diet. And there'll be people watching this that go, oh, that's actually an unhealthy relationship with food. You don't let yourself indulge. But that's not what we're talking about.
Oh, I do indulge.
Exactly.
Yeah, what we're talking about here is that's not vegan.
Yeah.
And I'm a vegan, right? However,
so that boundary is bang.
That boundary is
set.
there. Yeah, it has nothing to do with health or diet or weight loss or my cholesterol. It's just, I made the decision to be vegan. If they ordered a plant-based pizza, you know, I might take a bite of that.
Sure.
Because I'm not gonna restrict myself. It's just I don't feel the need to do it.
Yeah.
And what I did for so long is, you know, when they would order things like that, I just made a healthier version for myself. Sure. Because I knew I needed to do that.
Because then you feel like you're partaking. So if everyone's having pizza and you put together your own, you're part of it. You're not, weird mom, why aren't you joining us?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the...
Weird mom.
Weird mom. Healthy weird mama.
I laugh. But
healthy weird mama.
I think sometimes my son feels that way.
What's the health result you've had in the last 5 years or so that you're actually most proud of? The weight loss is obvious. You can say the weight loss if you want, but what are you most proud of? It's a funny question.
I'm most proud of not having gallbladder surgery because those doctors told me, you'll be back.
Right.
You'll be back.
And they haven't seen you
Go
since.
ahead, do what you want.
Yeah.
But you're going to be back here.
Did that give you a bit of a chip on the shoulder?
Oh, it lights a fire under me.
I'm going to show them.
Oh, yeah, because I'm just like that. But I love that I'm not back.
Yeah.
And that I've been able to manage any gallbladder, anything. Because, you know, a gallbladder attack, you can have minor ones and major ones. And even minor ones, like...
You haven't had?
Nope.
The last 5 years, nothing?
No.
Amazing.
Nothing. And so I'm the most proud of that.
And they said it with certainty. They said, we're going to see you again, Tia.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I asked, and this is something to mention, if you have gallbladder issues, like I made sure my gallbladder wasn't diseased or something that would cause me to have emergency surgery.
Sure.
Like I wasn't being was being smart about it.
Yes.
But they said, no, I mean, your gallbladder is fine. You just have a gigantic gallstone. And
Right.
so every time you eat a high fat item, it's moving around, it's
Right.
blocking whatever it blocks. So yeah, they said, you'll be back.
Amazing.
I said, okay, well, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that, and they haven't seen you since. So
No.
there we go. So they don't even know that you've put the middle finger up to them
Yeah.
because they haven't seen you again. But we know you have. Yeah. It's your peace of mind. That's all that matters. What do you think the hardest part of losing weight actually is? And there's so much we could talk about here.
Yeah.
But for you, what was the part that's like,
For me, in the beginning, it was just trusting the process because I had gone through years and decades of fad dieting, which was quick, water weight, really.
yeah,
I know now, but
and very extreme weight loss at first.
very extreme.
Anyway.
And
yeah.
so I expected that. And yeah, that was probably the hardest part, was just trusting the process, right? Like even in a plateau, like trusting that this will pass.
Yeah.
Also, though, to go hand in hand with that, I would say the hardest part too, maybe not so much for me, but I think for people, is just discipline in general. Is having that discipline, not relying on motivation, because that is something I used to do all the time too. Was when I was motivated, like that was it. It was on. And then 2 days later, I wasn't motivated at all. And so I would go, eat a bag of chips and say, I'll start again tomorrow when I'm feeling more motivated,
There'll be a lot of people nodding their head.
Yeah,
at home
so
watching
that
this.
was the hardest part. So it was, just the trusting the process, which helped me be disciplined, right? So, yeah, just staying consistent. But I think that was the hardest for me. Not staying consistent, just trusting the process.
Just trusting that you could be consistent, and that was actually in you.
Well, and that consistency would give me results. Like that.
Why didn't you think that? Because we all hear consistency is everything. I understand what you're saying, but to play devil's advocate, surely that's obvious that consistency brings results.
I don't think
why
it
didn't
was
you?
for
Why didn't
me.
it click for you?
I don't know. I don't think it just was for me. Well, why didn't it click? Because there's so much misinformation out there. And it didn't click for me because I would be like, well, but this person on the internet saying if I just don't eat carbs, I'll lose weight quick. So how
Right.
could it be consistency? I thought carbs made you fat, but it's consistency or...
Well,
just-
you also didn't know what to be consistent with. So when you
Right.
say that you learned the importance of trusting the process and that was a big barrier, how can you trust the process when, as you say, this YouTuber said this diet guru or this doctor, no matter how credible these people are, or your auntie says, oh, hey, dear, I lost weight on keto. How can you ever commit to anything?
Right.
Yeah.
It was difficult. Difficult.
Well, on the note of transitioning and trusting the process, was there any point at which, on the transition, the proper transition, because you flirted with this a few times, to eating more whole, fiber-rich plant foods, was there any point where you almost did give up? I don't think we've spoken about this, and you're such a gritty character that I can't even imagine it, but there must have been weak points.
Not when I was coaching with you.
No.
I was in it to win it.
Yeah. From then, that was it.
But right, like that's why I recognized I needed you. I needed someone to hold me accountable, and I knew if I had that. I mean, even Jordan, my husband, he was like, "You need to just bite the bullet and sign up with him." So
Because he'd watched you talk about this and flirt with this and try to do this for years.
Yeah, and he was with me when I woke up in the middle of the night and had a horrific gallbladder attack. So that kind of scared him too.
Yeah.
So he knew, like,
So he's like, take care of yourself.
we got to do this. Yeah. So, what was the question?
Was there any point you almost in the transition
yeah,
where you
no.
were like, no, but no, and you're all in. That's
All in.
what you're
Many
like
times though
with
before
every-
signing up with you.
Yeah.
Many times. I would start it, and then a week later I would be done. And I would think there's got to be something else. And onto YouTube I would go for, typing
next
in the
magic
title,
pill.
how do I lose 20 pounds in 1 month? How do I mean, it was just,
So you just needed to commit to
I just
something
needed to commit
and see
to
if it
something.
worked. Yeah, and luckily it did. What do you think the biggest misconception about health and wellness is? There's so many here, but Amongst general people you talk to, whether it's online or in person, what do
that
you think the
it's
biggest
hard
misconception is?
to
Yeah,
do.
you said this earlier, yeah.
And also that it's expensive, right?
That's a funny one, isn't it?
There's two of them. I hear that a lot. Like, oh, you eat plant-based? You must be rich. No, I mean, our grocery bill has gone down hundreds of dollars because I'm eating whole plant foods,
Hundreds
right?
of dollars, what, a month, a week?
I mean, a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't spending.
Yeah.
I'll spend thousands of dollars a week. No, a month. Yeah. So it's gone down so much, and
So why is there this misconception that eating healthily is expensive?
because I think people, like, for instance,
Is it an excuse?
It's an excuse. They think we have to get the most expensive produce. I think also people still don't get what whole plant foods is, right? I think people still think that means prepackaged things,
Sure,
vegan,
fake meats and
that
vegan
stuff's
cheese.
expensive.
That stuff's really expensive.
It's expensive. So you get and sometimes I do, right? I hate to say it, but I'll get vegan chicken nuggets for my kids, or they love grilled cheeses, and I get them, vegan cheese. On those grocery hauls where I'm getting stuff like that every now and then, the bill is so much more money versus when
it's very Whole Foods.
I'm just getting potatoes, beans, rice, things like that. It's next to nothing.
And then obviously there's the organic argument, and for me, if you can afford to get organic, it is good. It is good.
Yeah.
But if you can't, that's fine.
It's
and
better
it's so
than
cheap.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is fruit tends to be a lot more expensive than veggies. So fruit is incredible for weight loss, is incredible as a source of nourishment and nutrients as well. But if you are on a budget, pack your diet with lots of veggies.
Yeah.
And have a little bit of fruit, maybe mostly frozen fruit, because that tends to be cheaper as well. And that's the way to do it on a budget with all those cheap starch. The starchy foods are so cheap, aren't they?
So cheap.
Yeah.
So cheap. And no one eats them.
No one eats them.
The potatoes.
So they're good for weight loss. They've got a low calorie density.
It blows my mind.
Sweet potatoes are packed with nutrients.
Yeah.
Nobody eats them.
There's tons of potatoes.
Yeah,
all
but
the
carbs
time.
are bad.
What?
Carbs are bad.
Right, exactly.
So that's why. How do you incorporate your meals, I said we'd come to this, with what your husband and your kids eat? We've kind of touched on it already about if they're ordering pizza, you'll do a healthy pizza. That's kind of a way to make it easier. But any other tips for people?
I, again, keep things really simple. And I think that was that thought. I mean, look, I didn't invent that, right? Like, keep things simple. I mean, that's just the way it is when you eat this way. However...
No, but it has become one of your main messages.
Yes, and it clicked with me when I was making multiple meals. Right? Like, it clicked. Like, I have to keep whatever I'm eating so simple that I could throw it together literally while I'm making them, whatever I'm making them. And so that's really how I do it now. I will say, though my husband will eat anything I make, and he loves it. He just has to eat more of it, more fat.
Needs more calories, obviously.
Needs way more calories.
And he's tall, so he's
a big guy, and he's lost weight. Like
Has he?
Yeah, just not trying.
Just through you, via you. Yeah.
So
whereas you're trying, and
and I'm trying, and it's like.
Yeah.
But so he'll eat anything. My son is now willing to try and eat. My daughter just was so picky, so I'm usually always making her. But again,
But your daughter's amazing with vegetables, I remember.
Amazing.
Like weirdly good for a kid.
She's
growing
so
up
amazing.
In the Western world.
The issue is, like, I'll tell her, you can't just have cucumbers and tomatoes for dinner. You're going to be starving. Like, what can we add to it? She doesn't want to add starch. She doesn't like, so she's a different beast in itself. But I keep whatever I'm making them really simple, and I keep what I'm making simple. And I'm talking like 5 minutes, something like I said earlier with the beans and the rice and the veggies that I could just throw a sauce on it,
And throw a sauce on it, but also add stuff to it for them that you don't have.
Yes.
Because you're throwing it all.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. The other thing I would say to people is feast meals. Feast meals are great because of what I've just said. You can add stuff to yours and not to theirs and vice versa. Wraps with a nice healthy sort of whole wheat type wrap. Tacos, chili, things that you put a little spread or
and
a platter.
You can all grab.
And you can all grab your own stuff. I think that's probably quite good for families. To change tack slightly, and I'm actually surprised we haven't even mentioned this yet, because it is another part of your story and your journey with nutrition. How do you stop, or how did you stop emotional eating? How do you stop turning to food out of feelings? This is a big one.
It's a big one. I think there's a lot to it. I think one of the things that helped me stop emotionally eating was all the fiber I was eating.
Right.
I was full a lot.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped with the emotional eating. Like I didn't really feel that trigger a lot.
Sure.
I think
because a lot of people they're
full.
dieting so hard that when a craving comes, it's so much harder to control than if you genuinely are quite satisfied and feeling nourished.
Yeah. So that helped, but also just figuring out different ways to combat that, right?
Yeah.
So for instance, if I was feeling real emotional about something, right? Because it happens, especially with moms. Like we're so overwhelmed mentally. I mean, right now, while I'm talking to you, I literally was thinking of what I have to do later with the kids. Like it's a constant.
Well, there's no peace.
There's no peace.
Especially when they're the age they're at. They're young. So.
Yeah. So anyway, to answer your question, I think that coming up with a way, something else to satisfy that need I was having, right, of eating, because I was feeling emotional, whatever emotion I was having. Reading a book, which I actually got into reading because of that. Reading a book, or just walking around the corner, right? Not walking 2 miles or 3 miles, because that can feel very overwhelming too, to all of a sudden commit to that. But just saying, I'm gonna just go get some fresh air, walk around the block, see how I feel when I get back. And that always worked for me. Another thing I used to do is just jumping jacks. If I felt the need to go to the refrigerator, I would get up and go, and I would say, I'm just gonna do 50
Now,
jumping
I love
jacks.
this.
50 jumping jacks real quick.
Yeah, I love this. Can you explain the psychology? Why did you, I love this. There's so much to this, so many layers to why I think this is genius. But what was the psychology behind that? Why did you think that was?
Because it distracted me.
Okay.
It distracted me, especially
it's
because I didn't want to do the
It's
jumping.
another outlet for emotion rather than just da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, and it just woke me up almost. It was like a switch in the light switch, right?
Yeah.
And so I would say, I'm just gonna do 50 jumping jacks and see how I feel after that. And I always felt energized and positive, right? Like, oh man, I don't wanna go screw this up. I always do, and I'll still do it.
Yeah.
Because
really? You're still doing this now? Yeah.
Like have the
I didn't
needs.
even know you did this, but I don't think we've ever mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Too
still,
embarrassed to tell me. Too shy to
No,
tell.
but I mean, it
I
doesn't
think it's
happen a
great.
lot.
Right.
But I'm going to be real, right? Like it's not just going to go away. The feeling of that, and especially after 4 years of
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
just doing this. So yeah, the jumping jack thing was great.
Yeah, I'm also a big believer that emotion follows motion and vice versa. And so if you're sat at your desk all day, so we've got very different sort of lives in terms of day to day. I'll be sat at my desk, I'm working with clients, I'll do some exercise at some point in the day, but I'm working with clients all day, or I'm on Zoom meetings or doing social media stuff. I'm like this, I'm static. You can get in this antsy or bored or overwhelmed state very easily, just sat like this. And if I don't do it, but if I jumped up and did jumping jacks, I'd feel fantastic after 60 seconds, because I've changed my state. My heart rate's elevated, my breathing's different. Emotion follows motion.
Brain feels great.
And you're not just sat with the same posture. And so I'm big on that.
Yeah.
I like that, and I don't think we've ever spoken about that before.
No,
Go
and
on.
another thing is drink some water.
Right.
Cold water for me. I
Yeah.
mean, cold water, not like a ton
Yes.
where you're gonna like drown yourself, but just like.
And there are people that mistakenly associate with hunger with hydration, by the way. A lot of people are dehydrated, and we're in a hot place here. We're in Texas, so drink your water, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is actually a question from my client,
I feel
Erin.
like that was a good answer.
That was a really good answer. You're proud of yourself there.
Yeah.
Check.
That was a good
Let's
one.
end it here,
And I
George.
didn't talk
Let's
too
end
much.
it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unlike you. This is actually a question from my client, Erin. She knew I was coming to see you. A bunch of my clients have submitted questions.
Hi, Erin.
She's actually lost 40, 50 pounds in the last year. Amazing.
great.
Biggest wins for her relationship with food, like we've just talked about, emotional eating. She's done amazingly. And she said, or something along the lines of, like even in this interview, we've discussed the weight loss, we've discussed the gallbladder, cholesterol dropping. You've had all of these amazing, health improvements.
My hair got curly again.
Hair. Were there any? Maybe that's the answer. Were there any other unexpected benefits to changing your lifestyle? Stuff that happened, you were like, well, this is different.
My sleep.
Okay.
Totally improved. I mean, that's if none of the kids wake up with
Sure,
a bad
there's
nightmare.
lots of variables
right?
that contribute to sleep, but yeah.
Or, my sleep improved, my hormones completely evened out.
What do you mean evened out?
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here with two guys, but like my cycle.
Yeah, but you know I talk about this every day.
My cycle, like no cramps.
Yeah.
Absolutely no cramps. Ever. And it's funny, if I...
Zero.
In
the last couple of years. Yeah.
If I eat more fat that month,
bang,
I'll have a little cramp.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And that's just for me. But no cramps. My cycle's just not a problem. My moods are more even, right? I sleep better. We said that. So with the hormone stuff, my hair curled again. Like my hair was getting kind of straightish, but it was a weird stage. It got
When you
thicker.
say curly, do you mean, I was going to say, is it a thickness thing and therefore it curls more? Yeah.
Yeah, well, and the curls themselves weren't, it was almost like
Strong.
straw, but like thinner.
Right.
It just wasn't,
Yeah.
I did my hair straight a lot.
Yeah.
My skin cleared up, right? Which everybody over 40 wants. Like I mean, I could go on and on.
No, these are nice little, you wanted to lose weight. And you wanted to
Yes.
fix the gallbladder problem. You wanted the cholesterol to drop. These are little cherries on the cake, aren't they?
Oh,
These are little
yeah.
things that, me, not to sound too crass, for me, first week, I went vegan. It's crass, but bowel movements.
Yeah.
Because I was doing all that protein, gym bro,
Yeah.
220, 250 grams of protein a day from animal products mostly.
Oh gosh, you're
I
probably
don't need-
never going.
I don't need to tell you what the smell was like, right? And so that wasn't the reason why
Yeah.
I wanted to eat more plants. It was to lose some bloody weight. I
Yeah.
know I'd gone too far with all the meat, and be healthier. But I noticed that in the first week. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
So there's a little cherry on the cake.
Little cherry on the cake. Yeah, same for me.
We
you
like
know,
those cherries, yeah.
It's a consistent thing. Same time, like talking about bowel movements, just like that is great. I also this is kind of interesting, and I have yet to have a dentist admit this.
Okay.
I have not had a cavity, and I was a cavity. Like I don't think I had any teeth left to get a cavity. I would always get cavities, and I would always be told like, "Oh, you just have one of those mouths where like you have more bacteria." Gross, ew.
That
was because I was eating flesh.
That sounds like copium and junk food. Let's be honest. Because
Yeah.
there's people, and that just sounds like a copium to me. Oh, you've got a bad genetics for it. It's
Not
like
true.
you might not be taking care of yourself. I mean, that might be true to a degree, but there won't be. But let's say there's a keto or a carnivore person watching this, who obviously we don't share the same view on, but what we might agree on is whole foods, right? Across
Yeah.
the diet spectrum, everyone agrees whole foods are good, and everyone starts being rude to each other on what percentage of carbs
Right.
but everyone mostly agrees, we should, all this junk food, loads of booze, it's clearly all the drugs people take, it's not good for you, right? Do some exercise. Everyone across the diet spectrum agrees this. So there might be keto, carnivore folks or more inclined watching this going, but the reason you had less cavities here, it's not because you went vegan, it's because you stopped eating junk.
Yes.
We don't know, do we? Yeah.
We don't know, and that's what my dentist is always so surprised, right? Because she's like, "But you eat like fruit and potatoes, sugar, and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not decaying in my mouth."
Do
Like,
you floss?
I mean, not like I should. No.
I'm big on it, daily.
Not a big flosser.
Yeah,
I
daily.
try, I make sure my kids do it. I try to do it, but no cavities.
Yeah,
that was a good-
I've had 3 or 4 fillings, but years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Back when I was shock horror, back when I was eating lots of junk food.
Yeah.
And my visits to the dentist now are honestly the highlight of my year because
Yeah.
they love me.
Yeah.
My last checkup.
So easy.
Hygienist did what they did, went to the dentist, because in the UK you get 2 separate appointments, one for teeth cleaning, one to see your dentist. My dentist, 5 minutes.
That's great.
And usually we need to do x-rays and that sort of thing. We do that once a year, but 5 minutes back, yeah, perfect. It's the best I've seen today.
That's
I love it.
awesome.
The ego is like, yeah, teacher's pet, fantastic. How do you deal with social outings when you're trying to eat healthily?
Yeah,
Big one,
that
again.
was big in the beginning, because again, like we talked about, I'm all or nothing, right? So I just made the commitment to not do anything social for a while, which for me was easy because it was at the height of COVID and shutdowns, and so it was easy for me. But I wanted to get into the habit of the way that I ate. You know, I wanted to give myself a chance, and I do think, I know that could sound extreme to some people, like to not, but I think it's good. It might be good to do for maybe just a month or 3 weeks. But yeah, that's what I did. And then once I decided,
to cut you off. This is important. If there's somebody watching at home, I'm going to sound super judgmental here, but it's my real view. If there's somebody watching at home and they are incapable of not going out to eat for the next couple of months to prioritize health and weight loss efforts, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
They're not serious.
Not serious.
So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you can never eat out again. You eat out now.
I eat out now.
But I think you're right. I think sometimes in life you have to go through sacrificial periods to give yourself a chance to actually change, to build new habits without the interruptions. Then when you're a stronger person and you've built your good habits and you've destroyed lots of the limiting beliefs you have and you've improved your relationship with food, then you can go out to eat.
And it's so much easier.
I mean, George and I, we're going to have 2 weeks here in Texas. We're going to stay in some Airbnbs, so we'll do some really clean home-cooked meals, but we're going to have to mix it with some stuff that's less than perfect, and sometimes we'll indulge and we'll tactically have something less than perfect, but we'll be absolutely fine because we've already gone through the transformation.
Yeah.
We've done it. We know we're in control. We trust ourselves.
And it won't destroy, right?
Yes.
Everything you did,
Yeah, you can have one little bad thing and then you're not ruined for the next week. You're not totally off the rails.
Yeah. Yeah, because before that, it did ruin me.
Right.
It would ruin me completely. So yeah, that's, I think, a great thing to do. Also, you know, recommend where to go.
Yeah.
Right? Like find a place that has food for you, you know, and don't be afraid to say, can you not put oil on that, right? Like I was afraid for a long time before. I think that's why I stayed away from restaurants, because I didn't think I could ask. But now I just say I'm allergic to it. If you say you're allergic to anything,
they're super.
They will not
ma'am.
do it.
Yeah.
And I'll get some looks like, you're allergic to oil? I'm like, I'm
that's a new one.
very allergic.
Oh, bad things happen. You don't want to see me on oil. I'm wild.
Yeah. Yeah, so, or you could always bring your own stuff, right? Which a lot of people don't think that's a good idea. But you just got to be prepared. You can still do it.
Of course you can.
You can still do it.
And I think you're right. It does depend on where you go a lot. Because, I mean, here we'll be fine. There's so many good vegan, and not just vegan, but healthy spots for us.
Yeah.
Like we had sushi last night, and there was lots of things on the sushi menu. We had one roll that was kind of smothered in some probably quite rich oil, dressing, excuse me. But there was some kind of clean, more vegetable type rolls. You can make it work.
Yeah.
If you're choosing the right places to go, depending on what you've got in your area.
Right.
So it's hard, but also worst case scenario, let's say you do have something bad. If you limit that to once a week, that's one, if you're having 3 meals a day, that's 1 in 21 meals. That's not enough to change the scale.
To make a big difference.
But here's the risk, and this is what we spoke about earlier. Might not affect the scale, that one meal, but do your taste buds light up? Do you start thinking, I enjoyed that? Do you get back on track from the next meal? The next day it's the slippery slope. So as long as you have that under control, you can easily have one meal out every now and again that isn't ideal.
Yeah.
And you don't do any of the things, the clever things you just spoke about how to make meals out more healthy.
Yeah.
But if it's under control, it's just once a week, it's still not going to ruin anything. So it can be done.
Totally.
We're not some Puritan
totally can be done.
health people with this.
No.
Yeah, we're not neurotic.
Maybe at first.
Maybe at first. And it's kind of a rite of passage that you need to be a little bit neurotic to get to the place where you learn balance. I hate that word. It's so incorrectly used, but it's not forever.
Yeah.
How do you manage cravings relating to menstrual cycle?
I don't restrict them. So you're looking at me like, what?
What? How dare you? No, but explain, because I know you don't literally mean, I eat ice cream during PMS. During PMS, I just eat ice cream and I don't tell Ryan about it. I know that's not what you mean.
No, I will, if I am wanting something sweet, I'll make chocolate chip cookie dough, right? And I'll dip I'll have it with strawberries.
Sure.
Or if I want, again, I'll make like a chocolate mug cake. All you know,
really clean.
really
That's the
clean,
important thing to say. Yeah.
but delicious, and it
Gives you some sweetness.
satisfies me, right? And so that's what I mean by I don't restrict it. Like if I want, I'll have it. It'll be my lunch.
Yeah.
Am I getting enough protein? Well, yeah, from the chickpea cookie dough.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't think about like, oh, am I getting the right amount of macros? No,
Sure.
I'm just eating
Sure.
what I would if I ate
And it's not
unhealthy.
the whole month round. It's,
Right? No, it's just one day or I don't know.
Have you noticed this is really interesting. Have you noticed a difference in cravings between PMS itself, right in the run up to menstruation, and menstruation?
Yes. So up until like before, that's usually when I have cravings, right? And it's usually sweeter stuff, but it's nothing uncontrollable like it used to be, right? Where I wanted to binge and just like eat a gallon of ice cream. Now it's just like, oh man, you know what I want to eat for lunch? I want like a whole watermelon. Like it's
Sorry,
stuff.
when is this? This is PMS? Or, yeah.
When I actually have my period, I usually eat hardly anything. I'm just not hungry.
Right. You feel lethargic.
Well, no.
No?
I still have energy.
So why don't you eat?
I'm not hungry.
Okay.
And I eat when I'm hungry, right? I'm not like, oh man, it's noon, I have
Yeah.
to eat lunch. It's
Yeah.
lunchtime. Like I literally eat when I'm hungry. Perfect example, yesterday I didn't have lunch. This probably wasn't that great. Till 5.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I had my overnight oats at 10.
Yeah.
And didn't eat lunch till 5. I wasn't hungry. you know?
Interesting.
So
It correlates pretty exactly with what I've found, and I've worked with, Vegan Slim and Sustain. We've had 350 people. I'm pulling this out of the air, but it's probably roughly 280 women over the last couple of years. So there's a good percentage of those that are still, having menstrual cycles. And what I have found, this is anecdotally and it's very clear to me scientifically, is that PMS itself in the luteal phase, so just in the build up to menstruation, that's when you're genuinely more hungry. And there is a strong argument that metabolic rate increases, so you can actually eat more and it's not going to get stored as body fat.
good to know.
So that's the good news. I think we've talked about this before, but that's the good news. Now, it then switches. So during PMS, there's a very good argument that women should eat 100, 150, 200, maybe that's a push actually, extra calories, but certainly 100, 150. And I'll give clients that really struggle with this permission to have an extra snack a day and that sort of thing. Then what happens with menstruation is you're not hungry, which is exactly what you found, and you don't experience this, but a lot of women do. That's when emotional eating will happen because you want to soothe and you want to numb the physical symptoms. Or the lethargy.
And I think this is a big change from when I like eating this way. I don't experience those symptoms that I used to, right?
So you don't feel like you need to mask them or stuff them down
I'm not
with
feeling
junk food.
lethargic or, I mean, listen, I'm sure I have my months,
Sure.
but like right now actually,
Yeah.
like is my time. And
Yeah.
I mean, you would probably agree, like I'm super energetic. Like I'm not.
You'll tear, like it's,
I mean, I just don't experience that.
Sure.
So I used to big time. Now I am tired, but it's like at night.
Sure.
I'll fall asleep on the couch
Sure.
at 9:30. I usually am up till midnight, right?
So you
Like,
notice you're more tired
yeah.
still during menstruation, yeah. But
But not
that's
during
very
the day
normal,
like
but
I
not
used to
during
be.
the day,
During the
yeah.
day, it's fine.
And it's
I'm
not
not-
dipped your energy completely. Yeah, okay. What tactics successfully got you through plateaus on your way to where you are at now?
plateaus.
The dreaded plateau question.
Definitely, again, trusting the process.
But that's not a plateau, is it? That's consistency. Plateau
Yeah.
is you're doing, let's assume, and maybe it's my fault for the wording of the question, but let's
It
assume
is
you're
your
doing,
fault.
it's always my fault. I'll take the responsibility. Let's assume that, I'm the question asker, let's assume that you've done everything perfectly over 2 weeks. You've not dropped a single pound. What have you done, because you've had various stages of these, so I've worked with you through them before. What have you done that breaks you through? When you think you're doing everything, I'm eating pretty cleanly, I'm eating the same diet as when I lost weight earlier. What do I do to get through
think
this?
like a drastic change for me, right? Because like sometimes we did like the potato cleanse,
Yes.
right? Or fruit only for breakfast for a week.
Yes.
It was things that, maybe not that drastic, but it was drastic to my body.
Yes.
Right? Like,
we're doing something different.
She's not doing overnight oats for
When we say
breakfast.
drastic, we don't mean extreme. We're like, we're doing something
just
different.
something to my body that seemed drastic.
Yeah.
Like, she's
because a lot of people
only eating potatoes for lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
Like what?
And when we say only potatoes, a potato-based meal, but it's it's not to correct you, but I think a lot of people they'll hit a plateau and they're just like, oh, that's my body, I'm done. I must be stubborn. I can't get through this. And you're like, what you've learned is adjust, try something. Sorry, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
no, that's exactly
what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just changes like that. Something different than what I was doing, I noticed it would.
But I think the thing to ram home with this is whether it was the fruit only thing, which I don't do as much anymore, but it's really effective. Whether it was
I didn't like that, by the way.
Thanks for your feedback. I appreciate it. We should really have this
It
discussion
worked.
off camera because you're actually embarrassing me right now in front of my,
I like savoring
in front of my people. Yeah, just savoring. This is true Tia now, just harsh. She's lovely off the camera. But why these things work, whether it's having a few more potato-based meals, whether it's having, or a lot more, or whether it's doing the fruit-only breakfast, these are not magical things by themselves. They shave a few calories off your diet, and they allow you to crack on. Because what happens with weight loss, as you very well know, is that as soon as you put your body into a calorie deficit and start losing weight, your metabolic rate will decrease as a natural adaptation to the lower calories. And at some point, that decrease in metabolic rate will catch up with the amount of calories you're eating, and you'll just even out. And so it's really important that people see the process of losing weight as one whereby their plan and their strategy will be forced to change if they want lasting success. You can't just eat the same thing and have it not bring results and think that, well, 6 months ago that worked.
Yeah.
You might have to do something different. And I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I like it. Easy and quick dinner meal ideas. People don't tend to struggle with lunches and breakfast so much. People can be very repetitive with those. They don't need loads of variety. But do you have any good dinner ideas?
I say
for
these
people?
all the time, but like lentil. I laugh because it's literally
lentil marinara.
I say this lentil marinara. I would do the red beans and rice. That's always.
I get a lot of clients that love that, by the way.
It's so good.
They're like, can you adjust Tia's red beans and rice for me?
So good.
Ramen bowls. You've been doing
ramen.
You do quite a few of those.
So easy. Yeah. I mean, any one pot anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Throw it all in. Chilies. Oh, chilies.
Oh, I forget about chili.
Chili is really good.
I used to eat that a lot.
But it's not the time of year for it, is it really?
No.
But chili's good.
No. Yeah, just those kinds of things you can just throw in a pot or an instant pot or
What's your thought process? How do you stay strong in the times where you're overwhelmed, tired, feeling a bit lazy, you don't want to cook, you don't want to go and move your body, you don't want to do any exercise? How do you get through those moments?
I'm worth it, right?
Ooh, that's
I always remind myself, like, I am so worth it, and I should do this, not only for myself, but for my kids and my husband. Like, I want to be around. I tell them all the time, like, you're going to have to deal with me until I'm like 110. I'm going to be here. Or at least 100. Like, that I will. Uh-oh. So
that's not needed. Full self-belief, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's just important to me, right? And so
in those moments where you're like, do I have to cook now? Or it'd be easier to order in, or the family's eating something that is vegan, but it's not really on my plan. You'll say to yourself, or do you even consciously do this, or is this at the point where it's, no, I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing it, I believe in myself, this is great for me?
I just know. And again, it's still not that big of a deal for me to get up and make something, because it's 5 minutes. Yeah. Right?
But that's how you justify it to yourself. It's like, I know what I want.
Yeah.
I know I deserve these results. So here we go. I'm going to get on with this.
Doing it.
Nice, like that.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about nutrition today. Are there any other, this is an interesting one, are there any other health practices that you're working on right now related to anything else?
I mean, no. I'm still really trying to find ways to get more consistent with healthy vegan mama and doing those things. I'm trying to come up with, actually I am in the beginning stages of figuring out kind of like an interactive cookbook thing. I think would be fun. I don't know what that even looks like.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I just feel like there needs to be something different.
Something where what you can change.
Yes. I'm a very I like to be different.
Oh, we know
And
that. We know that.
If I feel like I'm doing something everyone's doing, it really bothers me.
Yeah, that's a big pet hate of mine as well. So.
Yeah, I know, we're so much alike. I feel like you're like my long lost brother.
Yes, it's worrying.
I told you I belong in England.
Yeah. Even though you've never been.
Even though I've never been.
Before this, Tia was like, I feel like my soul's in the UK, and I don't mean to sound patronising. And I was like, Tia, you've never been. How do you know?
There.
She's watched Downton Abbey, and she's like, I gotta go. I was like,
Bridgerton.
It's not all like that, Bridgerton. Yeah. That's a lot of that is filmed in my city, in Bath.
It is?
Funnily enough, yeah.
What about Queen Charlotte?
What's that? Is that another show?
Same people who did
You
Bridgerton.
watch more British TV than me. It's really embarrassing.
I love it. My car is British.
Is it?
Land Rover.
Okay, of course.
Yeah, it's from Penny
We haven't
Lane.
seen many of those, have we, since we've been here? So we haven't seen many of those. Yeah.
You got to drive that way.
Got to go that way. That's where all the Brits are.
Just keep going that way.
That's it.
A lot of Range Rovers.
Or Austin's that way. And Austin, we've had a good time here. It's not I don't want to offend anyone. There's many brilliant parts of the city that I've seen so far.
You've been here like 10 hours.
Yeah, but I've already formulated my assessment. And is it 10 hours? I don't know what day it is.
I don't know, I'm just guessing.
I've already formulated my assessment, and I think for me, if I lived in this area, I'd definitely be out somewhere in the suburbs. Because this is when we were driving out to you, it's so beautiful, and it's so nice to get out of the downtown area and just see trees again. It's
so hilly if you go west.
Just driving, it's a pleasure to drive around here, and just your nice bendy roads. I'd love to have my car here, but never mind. We got a nice little rental, so that's fine. In the time we finished coaching, you've never ever, we've talked about wobbles, to be honest about it, but you've never ever been close to going back to your old weight. Never ever veering back up the scales to that degree. Neither have you ever indulged in those old habits to any significant amount. What do you think has been key in actually maintaining this? Because a lot of people at home, they've got experience with weight loss, but they haven't actually been able to do, and I know you want to lose a bit more, they haven't been able to do what you've successfully done, not go back up the scale. What are the secrets?
It's too easy, honestly. And what I have crafted for my life is just too easy to not do it, right? Keeping things simple. I always, and we didn't talk about this, I just think I can't drill this in people's minds enough, is I always have food to cook.
Right, always prepared.
I always have it, even though I have one can.
I've just been in your salsa verde, right? But we've got to tell people about this. Tia showed me her pantry, which she's incredibly proud of, and rightly so, because it's an amazing pantry. Everything's stocked nicely. And I just I knew this would irritate her, because I know her well at this stage. I just walked up, because she's got 5 cans of chickpeas, 3 jars of oil-free marinara, 20 cans of black beans, whatever it is. Everything's really well stocked. And there was just one single can of salsa verde, and I was like, I know this is going to wind her up.
Someone gave that to me.
So I was like, there's only one can left. This is a disgrace.
It's not a normal grocery item for me.
But to be serious again,
yeah,
which is hard for us sometimes.
I always have
preparation.
Yes, I always have beans, any of my staple foods, which are rice, rice. Everyone always asks me on Instagram, what's your starch of choice? It's rice for me. Sorry, potatoes, but it's rice.
Yeah, I'm a grain guy as well.
Oh, I love grains, barley, it's just so good. So I always have frozen rice, frozen veggies, frozen fruit. And if you can't get those things, you can prepare, right? You can cut them up on the weekends and freeze them yourself. And so I just find that there's never an excuse for me, really. Although, not having a kitchen is a pretty big one right now, but...
Yeah, but you've made it work.
I'm making it work, and there's just no reason to not do it. It's too easy.
But I'm going to challenge you here.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is not that I disagree with you, because it's your answer about the question I've asked you. But I agree with you. Preparation's been really important to you in maintaining. I think there's deeper stuff happening. You wouldn't be so committed to doing the preparation. You wouldn't be so big on this message of simplicity like we spoke about a million times already today, if there wasn't something in here different to the Tia of 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I think the reason you haven't gone back up the scale is because you've actually changed.
Oh,
you in
huge.
here. So I want to get at that. That's the
Yeah.
interesting stuff. I know it's a bit abstract, a bit conceptual, but what here has stopped you going back up the scale? Something's switched. You're incapable of doing it. Why? Maybe you don't know. Maybe that's the best answer.
I might have to contemplate that for a while. I do know I am happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with my life. I'm so happy with myself.
So you've seen the results of your efforts?
Yes, I feel good.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't.
So why would you throw that away?
I
Right?
just don't want to feel like I used to feel anymore. And
so it's partly a results thing. You've seen what your hard work has done for you, and you're like, well, I'm not going to throw that away. It's a no-brainer, right? Whereas when you don't have the success, you can't see how worth it always is and how much better you feel. So it's hard to buy into sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard to convince yourself you can do it. You've seen the other side of that. So you're like, of course I'm not gonna go back up the scale.
No, and I also love what I'm eating, right? Like
That
I
helps.
love everything I eat.
Yeah, but again, let's go deeper because that's only an extension of this changing. Your lovely red lentil, red bean, red kidney
Have
bean.
you had
meal.
it?
No.
Oh.
It's disgraceful, isn't it?
Okay, you're here for 2
And I'm
weeks.
in your
When
house.
you come back,
You got to make it. For
I'm
me.
making it. I will instant
But my
pot.
honestly, my clients are always going on about it, so I know it's going to be good.
We're doing
And it's
it.
up my street.
So good.
I forget where we were at. but
Just
the deeper
going
stuff.
deeper, but that would take. I have to think about that.
Well, let me throw another thing at you, just from what I think I've observed about you, and I might be wrong over the last few years. You can put this back at me if you think this is wrong. I think your standards have changed. And I see this with a lot of other people that lost weight, and it's the way I feel about myself now. I feel that it would be very impossible for me to really gain a lot of weight now and get unfit because it's just, in the bluntest possible way, it feels completely unacceptable for me, which might sound really arrogant and pretentious, but that's honestly how I feel about myself. That's totally unacceptable. I'm literally incapable of going back up the scale because my standards won't permit me to.
Totally. My
Does that
standards
resonate?
are. Oh, it is. I mean, when you said it, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. My standards are way higher, way higher, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Very proud of it.
And when we say standards, what you hold yourself to.
I hold myself to, yes, absolutely.
In the kitchen with exercise. No, I don't do this anymore. I'm making a choice to do this.
And you know how I know? You're exactly right.
Tell me.
Because I find I'm holding other people to those standards, and I
Right.
have to kind of back down a little bit.
Yeah, because people don't want that.
No,
Not
especially your
external
husband.
pressure. Yeah.
Sorry,
And
Jordan.
they need to. He's a great guy, but
He
they need to want to change.
Yes.
And he's lost weight.
Yeah. Well, he didn't need to. You know, that's his thing
Sure.
now. He needs to bulk up
Yeah.
more. You know, so I mean, he doesn't need to. He looks amazing, but he. Yeah. So my standards for sure, for sure. And I love it,
I think-
right? I love where my standards are.
We got to move on, but I think the way, because we've spent a lot on this question, but I think the message I want to ram home is you started by talking about the reason you haven't gone back up the scale is about simplicity, it's about preparation. It's too easy for you to not, and I get it, and I agree with you, but I think the lesson I always try and give, not that I'm always in a position to give it, is that when you change, that's when you do the sustain part. And so I call my program Vegan Slim and Sustain for a reason. There's the slimming part, but we have to actually, I try and give my clients sustainable habits. And it's a hard task sometimes because you're working with people and it was hard for me. But if you can really, really change internally, the process of wanting to be healthy, wanting to be fit, it feels so natural to you. And that's where you're at. And I think, I appreciate what you're saying about simplicity, easy meals. That's deep. That's the deep stuff that drives the actions. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Bit abstract.
That's why you're good at what you do,
That's very kind of you.
because you think that way.
I don't know. I don't know.
think very
maybe it's too conceptual. I don't know. Very quickly, there's so much, because we do need to crack on, but there's so much info out there now, so much conflicting information as well, information that disagrees with one another. How does someone work out where to start? How did you know where to start or what to trust?
I just trust like basic common sense, right? Like that, and I always go back to that. Like even when people try to argue with me on stuff, it's just basic common sense, right? Like we were given all these fruits and these veggies. Of course we're supposed to eat a potato full of vitamins. Like why else would it be there, right? So it's just basic things that I think about. And even, you know, the meat argument, are we supposed to be eating meat or not? I don't know. I don't know. I know how I feel not eating meat, and I do know thousands of years ago, people were not eating meat every single day, and they were not eating meat at every meal. Maybe they had it occasionally when they were able to kill it, and fine. Your body can recover from anything so quickly that maybe it didn't affect people the way it does now, because we are just constantly bombarding ourselves with animal products.
And not to mention trash foods generally.
Trash
anyway.
food. I mean, that's a whole nother.
There's a lot of non-animal products that are terrible for you as well. To be balanced with this.
Yeah, totally. So to answer your question, I keep things basic in my mind, and I also just go with.
You've just followed
science.
What resonates with you.
Yeah, but the science.
And I agree with you, but the science is something that kind of gets trotted out a lot. People just say trust the science. That's kind of vague. Like there's scientific papers that will say one thing with another.
You got to dig deeper. There's not really.
Yeah.
With meat
Well, you got to
stuff.
look at the stuff that's funded as well. Yeah. But again, we're talking about a beginner, right? You've been doing this for years. You know your stuff. You've done the certification that you did a couple of years back. The average person coming into this, there's all this conflicting info. Where do they start? What's your response to them? It's a hard question, but I don't know the answer.
I mean, I think maybe you start where you feel like your heart is telling you to go,
Sure,
right?
of course.
Because
You've got to go with your
anybody
instinct.
can say, "Oh, you need to be whole food, plant-based vegan."
Or you must do keto, or
you
whatever
gotta
it
do
is.
keto. Just
This is the way you lose weight. Yeah.
whatever-
People get very controlling over their own approach. Yeah.
You know, this way of eating spoke to me. It always has. Like I said, when I was 11, I was a vegetarian.
Sure.
Like
So you just followed that instinct.
I just followed that instinct. And then I think from there, you just do what feels best for you. Because there is no answer, right?
And not to sound absurdly cliche, this is going to sound so cheese, but even the stuff I used to do before how I eat now, even as much as I look back and I'm like, ugh, roll my eyes at it, it was all part of the reason for me finding this. I had to do the bad stuff to realize how bad it, because I didn't think it was bad stuff at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So when people are like, how could you have eaten how you eat before and then suddenly had that change? Well, I didn't know any better. I didn't feel any better. I thought I was doing the right thing. That's what we do, right? I don't look at people that disagree with how I eat and I go, oh, they're dumb, they're stupid. It's obviously not that binary. They really believe that my way of eating is deficient or is malnourished or whatever their story is. And it's changed my life. So I know it's not correct for me. And so all those mistakes, so cliche, led me to, well, I think I need to try this plant-based thing next because it ticks this box and it fixes the problem that I had when I was doing more meat, or it fixes the problem that I had when I was obsessed with all the gym bro stuff and, the flexible dieting can't work, so let's try this. All these philosophies they've come after how I teach my clients. It's come after years and years of mess up.
Yeah, and I would agree. I can't tell you how many times I did, keto or Atkins or, I mean, I lived my whole 20s. That is what I...
dieting, quote unquote.
Yeah, but it was keto.
Yeah, right,
And Atkins at the time. That's how I lived. Never worked. I mean, it worked, but it never got me to where I am now.
There wasn't that sustained part, like we said
and
earlier.
I was so unhealthy. So unhealthy.
Do you supplement anything?
Yes, I take Complement.
Yep, I'm familiar with it.
Which I love Complement.
Which is a multi.
It's a multivitamin, but you're not getting a million, hundreds of different vitamins. They literally, they only include the basics, things that vegans might not be getting in their diet, like B12.
Got it.
Vitamin K, iodine. Those, it's like 5 things. But the great thing I love about it is that
I imagine it's got,
omegas
has it got
are in
vitamin
there.
D as well? It might do.
Vitamin D.
Omega-3s, yeah.
It's got vitamin D,
DHA,
B12, omega, DHA. So it's great. So I just take 3 pills a day and that's it.
And done.
Love it. And I have a discount.
And worth saying as well, and I don't think this really needs mentioning to my audience, like, regardless of what diet you're on, supplementing is wise as an insurance policy. That's my view. And so this is not you must supplement because you're vegan. This is, I choose to supplement because I care about my health. And there might be slightly different things I supplement as a vegan than a meat eater, but I still want to optimize regardless. It's not a vegan thing, deficiency, so you have to supplement. I think everyone should supplement.
They should, especially because that whole B12 argument with, people think they're getting a lot of B12 in meat, but
is there really that much? Yeah.
There's really not that much.
That's something that will unravel in time, I think,
Yeah.
Very different question. You're smashing it online. do you have any tips for anyone that wants to get into the social media stuff? Instagram,
Yeah,
YouTube,
just
etc.?
do it. Just do it. I think so many people have like feelings and thoughts about doing it, and they're afraid to do it. They're apprehensive. They don't know how to do it. Just do it. Just make that post. Just make the reel. Film a video. Like, just post it and do it. That would be my first and foremost thing. Because I wanted to do it for so long and I didn't. And then finally one day I did.
And you're made for it as well, so you just needed to
love
get
it.
on with it.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for everything. We're not wrapping up now, but on that note, thanks for everything you do in spreading this message.
It's my pleasure.
I've told you off camera, you're just the perfect personality for this. You are, and you just resonate with people. It's like affinity makes you a really good teacher. When people can click with you, because I'll get a lot of people that come to my channel. Like I say, my demographics on my YouTube channel is 70% female. Most of my audience are a lot older than me based on my demographics, and so. Obviously, there's still people I connect with, but I'm very conscious that there are people that come to my channel, like, he's a 29-year-old guy, he's already lost the weight, they've seen my before and after photos, but it's so long ago. Does he really get me? Can I really see myself in him? And you just have such a huge base of people that really click with you. And so I think affinity has made you a great teacher, because you're literally going through, and have gone through very recently, their journey.
Yeah. And I have kids, and
you have kids. People click with this.
Busy life. I know, what am I going to do when my kids are in college?
Healthy vegan grandma.
Oh no.
What's next for you? Health goals or otherwise? You just spoke about the cookbook, but even health-wise.
I still am not at when we talk about health. Look at all this like kid markers and glue.
I know.
I still
ruin this table.
I've been staring at it. I'm still not at my ideal weight, right?
Which is what, do you think?
I think it's like 132-ish. Not there. So
we've got some work to do.
I'm not giving up.
Good.
We got there once, right? But I just don't think it was. Maybe we need to get there in a more sustainable way for me. Or I need to just change my thinking. But yeah, health-wise, I just want to get down to that. Not for looks.
I think 130, for the record, 132 is completely doable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 5'5", so it's like,
it's
I think that's
doable.
probably
It's totally reasonable, yeah.
Yeah. Health-wise, that's where I want to get. Not for looks, just for, I know that, for my own health, for what's going on inside my body, I probably should be there. And the other thing is I just want to reach more people. That's all.
So grow this healthy vegan mama.
Just keep doing this, get more consistent, show people just, again, how easy it is to do this. There's just still so many people who
I think that's your thing.
don't get it.
I think that's the thing that you're better at, frankly, anyone on the internet, so therefore probably the best in the planet at, frankly, even though it sounds bold, is you are the best person in the world for showing people how easy this lifestyle is. I think there's no one. I'm really not just blowing your trumpet because we're in person and I like you. I think objectively you are the best person at that in the world.
Yeah.
Probably because of that affinity thing we just spoke about, but also your persona.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
keep doing it. Let's do it. Otherwise it's wasted. Otherwise your talent is wasted.
Yeah, I also think...
I mean, you're busy, so you're going to have to balance it, but...
Yeah, I think too, what I maybe need to brand myself more with too is that, like, I'm the only vegan in my family of four. I don't talk about that enough. And for a while, when I first transitioned over, they all did it.
Yes.
But it was easier when my kids were younger.
They
listened.
They didn't have their own opinions.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years ago, Max was, 6.
Yeah.
So it's so much easier to tell a 6-year-old, like, you're eating this
course.
red beans and rice. Then now he looks at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Or I'll pack him a lunch at school, right? A nice, healthy lunch. And then he bought his own lunch.
Sure, he's got a bit of pocket money now.
Yeah, so it's just, I need to talk about that more, I think, that, you're not alone. Like,
It's
there's
this
so
isolation.
many people.
There's a lot of mums, I mean, it extends to fathers too, but there's a lot of mums that, they are
They're alone
feeling
in
very
that.
unsupported on their journey. I
Yeah.
work with a lot of people that feel that way.
And we are the example, right?
You are.
We are the example of our...
That it can be
for
done
our
and it can
family.
be balanced. Oh, excuse me, sorry,
For
for
our
your family.
family.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're a role model.
But-
Obviously, you're in a leadership position in the family. So,
So it's important. And there's a lot of pressure.
And you everyone, yourself, everyone at home watching, I know full well that how you grow up eating, absolutely you carry on for the rest of your life, and the habits and the relationship with food you develop. It's not to say you can't change it, but it really does set the tone.
Oh, you for sure can change it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in New Orleans, and you probably not that familiar.
No, but I am though. Hush puppies and corn dog and
I mean, just
chicken and waffles.
Oh yeah, I mean, just horrible, delicious eating and
Louisiana food, eh?
emotional eating like nobody's business, and drinking and just. And I'm completely different. Completely different.
Good for you.
My
Is there
standards are-
anything standards again? Is there anything? I mean, that's the end of my questions. Is there anything else on your mind? Anything else you want to chat about?
No, I just can't thank you enough, honestly. Like, I'm so
Don't
happy I'm meeting
schmooze
you.
me now.
No, I'm so happy I'm meeting you.
Yeah, that's cool. Huh?
It just makes sense that this has happened. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're friends now. Now we're officially friends.
We're officially friends, and the internet knows.
Yeah.
Well, since we're officially friends, let me take the last minute to do a bit of a plug. We taught you know about my 10K scholarship thing. I've not made it easy for myself because I've got to do loads of meal plans later this week and that sort of thing. But if anyone wants to join Vegan, Slim and Sustain like Tia did, one of my first clients years and years ago, and you want some help losing 10, 20, 30 plus pounds, eating very simple, as we've spoken about today, plant-powered meals, doing a little bit of exercise, but none of this HIIT workout, extreme, nonsense. We don't need to do any of that, just gentle exercise. Vegan, Slim and Sustain could be the thing for you watching at home. And
great.
now is a fantastic time for you, not for me, because I'm creating a bunch of work for myself to join, because we've got this 10K scholarship giveaway. So as I was telling you about the other day, there's $10,000 US. It's chipped away at now. We've had 10 signups already.
That's
10,
awesome.
10, 10. Yeah, last week we had 10. So I had loads of work to do before even getting on the plane. But we've got $10,000 US set aside in scholarship money that I'm allocating to new members to put towards their joining fees of Vegan, Slim and Sustain.
That's
so
awesome.
now's a really good chance. It's open though, there's not long left, it's 4 or 5 days now. So Sunday, August 27th, this ends. So I'm hoping to put this up in the next couple of days, by the way, but we'll chat about when might be a good schedule for that. But yeah, so if you are interested in learning more about the scholarship giveaway, it's a great opportunity to join
And a
Vegan,
great
Slim and
program.
Sustain. Well, I did it last year, the scholarship thing, and it was wild. So in September last year, so I thought
Yeah,
I
I
might
remember
make
it
it
was
an
pretty
annual
big.
thing. Yeah. So if you want the details for that, I'll put the PDF. It'll be the first link in the description there. I'll put Tia stuff as well down below. Go and get all the information about the 10K scholarship giveaway and the next steps to apply. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you in person.
This was fun. Thank you, George.
Good old George behind the camera. No, we couldn't do it without him, to be
George
honest.
is great.
We're the stars of the show, but
I mean, I feel
George is actually the most important.
Fancy with the lights and stuff.
That's it, very glamorous.
brilliant.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, take care everyone.